Councillors, we're now live on YouTube.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning all, and welcome to Teignbridge District Council's Licensing and Regulatory Subcommittee. All participants taking part will be taking part remotely and will be live streamed to YouTube, with the exception of where there are confidential or exempt items which may need to be considered in the absence of the media and public. I'm glad to say there isn't, so we'll move on. While live streaming, please make sure all microphones are muted when not speaking to avoid any background noise levels. And if you wish to comment, please raise your hand and wait to be called. You don't need to raise your electronic hand, as I can see everyone, just raise your hands as so. And when it comes to a vote, the officer will read out members' names and please say if you are voting for, against or abstaining. The licensing manager will outline the applications and we will hear from any applicants if present, and then members will be able to ask questions. Once members have heard all the applications and are happy that they have all the information that they need, the committee will adjourn to a private session. Live streaming will be stopped, and then Democratic Services will confirm once the meeting is private, members are then be able to discuss the applications. And the applicants will be informed later that day whether the request has been granted, and a full decision will be given in 5 days. I'd like to introduce people now. My name is Rob Hayes. I'm the Vice Chair of this committee. We have Beth Tipton, who is Democratic Services. We have Debbie Rosenveld, who's the Licensing Officer. And we have fellow councillors and colleagues, Councillor Chris Clarence and Councillor Lorraine Evans. And I think that's that. I think we'll go straight to the agenda then. Item 1, any apologies, Beth?
No apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest at all? None that I can see. So we move on and look at the applications. Is the first applicant in the waiting room, Beth?
Yes, just letting them in, Chair.
Thank you.
The applicant has joined us.
Thank you. First, we'll go to agenda item 3, which is a request for a 12-month extension on the Hackney carriage vehicle, which is a Sharon, I believe. Let me just check that. Yes, a Volkswagen Sharon, registration WJ07 WXY. Debbie.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, good morning, everyone. The first request is from Mr. Street for, as you say, a blue Volkswagen Charan, registration WJ07 WXY. This vehicle is now 14 years of age. The vehicle passed its MOT on the 18th of February this year with no advisories. The vehicle was viewed by myself on that day, and photographs have been included with the report. And the vehicle also passed its depot inspection on the 8th of March. So Chair Committee are asked to determine this request.
Thank you, Debbie. Is there any questions from Debbie, from members? No. Would the applicant like to comment at all?
Only to say that I think the vehicle speaks for itself, that it's in good condition, well looked after. So in our opinion, is as good as any other taxi on the road and could do a good job.
Right. Are there any questions for the applicant at all from the members? Can't see anything, no. Thank you for your attendance then.
Okay, thank you.
If you could go back into the waiting room.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go on to item 4, which is a request for a 12-month private hire extension for can't see what the vehicle is now. Oh, it's a Chrysler. Is the applicant in the... Can you bring the applicant forward, please, Debbie?
Applicant's just joined, Chair.
Thank you. Over to you, Debbie.
Thank you, Chair. So this is an extension request from Mr. Lynn for a white Chrysler 300C, registration KLZ1117, which is 15 years of age. The vehicle has a current MOT, which expires in August this year. The vehicle actually passed its inspection on the 5th of March. As you will see from the report, this vehicle was last presented to committee 5 years ago, and I'm sure the applicant would add any other information that you require for this one. Thank you.
Are there any questions to Debbie from members? I can't see you, Chris. Oh, yeah. You're muted.
Sorry, I was unmuted. As a member of this very small committee, can I just point out that I have to keep flipping from the Zoom meeting onto the actual agenda thing, put up the thing, and go back. So it's very difficult to answer very quickly when I'm doing that. That's the reason that
Okay.
I'm a bit slow. But I'm following it intensely, and if I go off Zoom, and I go into the agenda on the iPad. You see, that's how I'm following it. So I hope you just take allowances for that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So
No questions from me.
thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add? The applicants, is that Kevin, Lynn? You're muted.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Thank you. Yes. Continue.
Yeah. Good morning. The reason this vehicle was on last at 5 years because it's part of our limousine fleet. It does weddings, and it's only actually licensed. We only have the license on it to do the school proms, so it doesn't do any mileage, which is why they put, instead of every year, they put a 5 year on it last time. As I say, it doesn't do airports or nothing like that. It's just used for weddings and proms. But yeah, the vehicle is immaculate. I say this year, I mean, with the COVID and that, it's done about 200 miles in a year. Other than that, it's stored in a garage, heated garage. But yeah, it's absolutely immaculate. Obviously, we'd like to continue licensing it, just purely for the school proms, which I don't know whether we can do it on a longer term rather than keep coming every year now, or whether we can do it like the limousines where they're longer term. But as I say, it's not a regular used car. It is used as a limousine vehicle. So.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions there for him? No, there's only one slight concern I have. I've noticed I know it's got nothing to do with the current MOT, even though it was an advisory about the parking brake. It seems to have a history of having a fault with it.
No, it's not a fault. It's the Chryslers have got inbuilt hub, a very small shoe in the hubs. They're never very good handbrakes, but no, I mean, you can see on the last report, only went for a test last week, and I think it was 27%, something like that, which is 16% is the minimum, so it's well over. It is just to be honest, it's automatic as well, and due to the miles it doesn't do, it's sort of yearly service on it really, but it doesn't do any miles to be honest, you never use the handbrake on them. It's one of those really. But
okay, thank you for that.
There's no concern there. As I say, it went for the test last week and it flew through the brake test, no problem.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from members? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Lynn. If you'd like to go back into the waiting room.
Okay.
Thank you for your attendance this morning.
Thank you.
Now go on to item 5. And item 5 and item 6, we can take those together, I'm sure, because they're owned by the same owner. Is Mr. Smith ready? Is he in the waiting room, Beth?
He's in the meeting now, Chair.
Oh, thank you. Right, over to you, Beth. Where am I? Debbie, over to you, Debbie.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you, Chair. Okay, so the next two applications, as you say, are both from Mr. Smith. These two requests are to change from a standard size plate to what we call the executive small ones for DW11CAB, which is 1 year and 10 months old, and WF20EET, which is 11 months old. Both are currently licensed with us, and as said in the report, the applicant would like small plates to use for executive use on these two vehicles. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Debbie. Mr. Smith, would you like to add anything to that? I can't see Mr. Smith. Is he here, Beth?
He is, Chair. Sorry, we don't seem to be able to hear you at the moment, Mr. Smith. I can see that you have unmuted, but the audio doesn't appear to be working.
Yes, I can see you now, Mr. Smith.
No, unfortunately, we can't hear you. So I can see you have unmuted yourself, but there appears to be some technical difficulties.
Right. We'll press on then. Are there any questions to the licensing manager? Any questions to Debbie at all? No, I have no questions either. I think we can proceed with this one then, Beth. If you can ask Mr. Smith to return to the waiting room, we will then deliberate on these applications.
Thank you, Chair. So the applicants have been returned to the waiting room. Just to clarify for anybody watching on YouTube that we will stop live streaming now so the committee can go into private session to discuss obviously the applications and to make their decision. We won't be coming back from that session. We won't be streaming live again. Once the decisions have been made, the meeting will finish and all applicants will be informed of the decision later that day.